Yeah, somebody's water. It's open. It's not mine. Somebody drank out of it.
Go ahead, John. You have a question?
Randy, can you just go through the decision on Tyler Bozak and the timeline of what happened tonight?
Obviously, we waited right till warm up to where he told us he couldn't go. So that was really the only decision we had to make, as far as either was going to play or wasn't going to play. So now he's out with an upper body injury, and we'll continue to assess and reevaluate and see what tomorrow brings.
And then the thoughts on Kadri's best game of the playoffs, obviously.
For sure. Much more noticeable, much more movement as far as moving off the puck. He skated with the puck, and he skated when he didn't have the puck. He was much more noticeable from a skating standpoint. And when he skates and he can create room, he can make plays. And that's what you saw tonight. And that's been absent. But he delivered in a big way tonight.
Coach, when you hear your players yelling Reimer, Reimer inside the dressing room after a big win like that, what does that mean to you?
Yeah, again, that's part of the teams, and those are good things to see from a coach, because they care for one another. They genuinely care when you have that emotion for individuals, and they're a big family in there right now, and that's really what we try to create. And it's not something that you can say that'll just happen. But when you suffer and you have success and you live together and you basically see one another on a day-to-day basis, the peaks and valleys and the blood and sweat and the tears that go with the group bonds them together. And when you have a market in which we do, and you can see the passion that was in the building again tonight and outside, those are all things that are part of the fabric and part of the glue that puts this thing all together.
You've said several times after losses, big losses or tight losses, that you wipe the slate clean, you move on to the next game. Do you wipe the slate clean again going into Boston?
For sure. We know we're going to go into a hostile building tomorrow night in Boston. We know that they're the passion in their market and their fans, and we've been there already. We know what we're heading to, and we just have to make sure that we play the game to a higher level than we did tonight, because we know they will.
Advantage or disadvantage the games back-to-back as opposed to a day between?
Personally, I'd prefer a day in between, but that's not what we're afforded because of obviously the scheduling was part and parcel with Boston having to play the extra day. And with the events that took place in Boston, you can understand they canceled the Ottawa game, so they had to reschedule. They scheduled the Ottawa game on the Sunday, so didn't want to give them an unfair advantage, or disadvantage, I should say, that they'd have to play us on such a short couple days' notice. And that's really what happens, and building availability and all that, that's what you get. You get a schedule and you play it. I think after two periods, he was the only guy that was at 50%. So it was difficult, and we tried Van Riemsdyk a little bit there, and that's what. Pardon? Even Kessel won. Well, I think he was there for a different reason. Just said I stated that he had an upper body injury, and that he'll have an evaluation done on a day-to-day basis here.
You were having a little fun with us because you kind of did yesterday that.
He should not. He's going to learn to shut his. You know what I mean. When the coach has something to say, he'll say it.
Go ahead, Mike.
The goal that Dion scores, he said it was a big goal for him, just as a thank you to the teammates, I guess, for what he did in Game 4. I guess he was making a bigger deal of it. But what do you think that does for him in terms of confidence and just putting that behind him?
Again, when you play as many minutes and you are the focus of your hockey club, when a lot of things don't go the way they're supposed to go, being the captain, that C becomes pretty heavy. And when you make a mistake, in which he did, you want your teammates want to rally around you, and you want to try to correct that as quickly as possible. And I thought the best game of the series was the following game, in Boston. He was much more under control. He did a lot of good things. He chewed some big minutes, played all of the key situations, and again, he followed that up tonight.
Go ahead, Neil. Neil.
Randy, the job's not done yet, but with these 2 wins on the facing elimination, are you seeing growth and maturity in this squad?
I think, again, I've always stated, and we probably won't, you're going to get tired of me saying it, that when we execute and we establish a strong forechecking game, we can be competitive. It's as simple as that. And you knew Boston was going to come with a big push, and they did. They started every period. They dumped the puck in, and they came after us. And I thought the game we started to do more of the things probably about 8 minutes into the second period, and we started to get our game going. And thus, we were a skating team, and we skated off the puck, and we started to get more offensive zone time. And we weren't rewarded for it, but we were able to put some pressure on them. And then this first shift in the third period, they won the face-off and dumped it in, and they got their game going. But we were able to get back to it, and we found a way to get a couple goals. And then, as always, we allowed one real late, and it made up for a very exciting last minute and a half, and specifically the last 24 seconds.
Mike.
Randy, the Kessel trade's been one of the most analyzed trades, I think, in NHL history. Can you talk about Phil, his production now, and his development as a young player?
Again, he's a goal scorer, and he knows how to find space. He can create space, and he's a guy that when he comes late on the ice, you can see the intimidation that he has with his speed and skills. What we've asked him to do is we've asked him to maybe play a lot more stop and go hockey. We've asked him to be first on the forecheck. You better be first. If you're going to be first in the back check, it's your turn. You better be first again. Try to play more of a stop and go instead of just a specifically rush game. And he's played that, and he's done that for us.
Couple of more, Dave.
You had to go into this game with a group of youngsters who spent a significant amount of time with the Marlies. Think Colburn, say Fratton, and then also getting ice time with somebody like Gardiner. Does that make you hold your breath a bit as a coach going into a game like this, knowing you got to depend on those kids to step up? And when did you think start to feel a little more relaxed about how they were playing?
I think, again, I watched a lot of the Marlies. I watched those players play a lot with the lockout and then the playoff run that they had last year. When we didn't make the playoffs, we didn't qualify. So I had ample opportunity to watch those kids play. So that the level of play that they were playing in the American Hockey League proved to us that they were going to at least earn an opportunity to get some games with us. Now, Gardiner was a different animal because he was clearly separated himself much differently than others. Colburn's a big guy that's probably, people would say, hasn't developed to the level or as quickly as some people would like. But big guys, it's a little different too, and center ice, it's a lot different position. So you take those with a grain of salt. With Fratton, he was probably the most dominant player in the playoffs until he got hurt last year in the American Hockey League. So we had three, which we considered prospects to play on our team. When they were going to play was going to be up to them. And now they're living it. And I don't have any qualms about putting those kids in situations as long as they understand that defense is first in their first foray. The responsibility that they have, they can't be noticed for the negatives. As long as they just go through the game and they don't hurt you, then that's a huge step for them.
Last one, Mike.
Randy, Gardiner's development is his poise with the puck, his ability to put it in a safe place, his willingness to take the body behind his own net. Tell me about his development just through this series in terms of, because he's getting major league minutes from you now.
Again, he's a special player, and he separates himself with his skating ability, and he's playing to the level that we expected he would start with us. So are we surprised by it? No, not really. This is what our expectations were for the player, and then the bottom line is that Jake's a puck-moving NHL elite level defenseman. And there's areas of his game, like any young player and like any player, have to be improved on. And that's what we asked of him.
Thanks, guys.